Hey, what's going on, YouTube?
Are you questioning me?
Let's answer some questions. Okay, so our first question has to do with this Bullionbeast here. And you'll notice this Bullionbeast, very good strength, excellent agility, and just so-so luck, 7 slots here. And the question is basically, should you change out the Blood Roar with a low luck score for a Fatal Bite with a much better strength score? All right. The answer is no. It actually will decrease your DPS if you do that. The thing is, your base crit chance is 0%, so in order to get any crit on the pet, you're going to need enablers. There's only 2 enablers. They are Blood Roar and Angry Roar. They stack. You want them both most of the time. So even with a low luck score, Blood Roar is better than Fatal Bite by itself. Now, on the other hand, you have Fierce Attack being modified by Intense Fierce Attack here. Intense Fierce Attack gives Fierce Attack a better trigger chance. The base trigger chance of Fierce Attack is only 40%. But Fierce Attack's kind of a low damage source on the Bullionbeast. So with a low luck score, you are better off changing out the Intense Fierce Attack for either Fatal Bite or Tooth and Claw. They'll both increase the DPS by about the same amount. Okay, so the second question comes from the last War Pet refresh video, and a couple of viewers asked me, hey, have you considered either Gentle Breeze or Interruption on the Sand Lizard? Now, the Sand Lizard has a low base luck score, so I didn't really look at the luck skills, but, you know, when those viewers prompted me to look at it, I think actually these are pretty interesting. I'm actually not a big fan of Interruption. I tested out Interruption a bunch back in the Berserk Phaedrake days. Interruption actually can self-fuel the Berserk Phaedrake, but it ended up being not that impressive, essentially a waste of a slot. So I don't think Interruption is great, although on the Sand Lizard, once you've got, you know, the talent skill and the heal package on there, you have a lot of room to play around with, so it's not like it'd be the worst thing ever. On the other hand, I think Gentle Breeze is really good. Now, Gentle Breeze, the percent trigger chance is based on your luck score. Sand Lizard's going to have low luck, so the chances you triggering this isn't that great, but you know, you don't have a lot of other amazing options once you get past the heal package. And in particular with the meta right now being so heavily infantry dependent and in particular Kuma dependent, Gentle Breeze can, you know, dispel Kuma's, you know, buff mechanic. You know, every so often it's going to trigger and it's going to make a difference. So I actually think Gentle Breeze is a pretty good choice. Okay, so question number 3 really comes down to, hey, in my last War Pet refresh video, I talked about the Sand Lizard being good for ranged marches, but not good for melee marches. And what should you use with melee marchers, in particular infantry? Your generic answer is the Venom Lizard. Venom Lizard's good with any infantry hero. I am going to make a War Pet refresh video about the Venom Lizard, you know, in the near future. If you're not looking for a Venom Lizard, every infantry hero, every pair of infantry heroes has a War Pet specifically designed for them. So season 1, you had Garwood and Nika. Garwood really has the Strike Bear or the Friendship Bear. Not great. It has a niche use, in particular for Roots of War, where the Friendship Bear will just help you survive longer, but not really a good pet outside of that. Madeline used to be an infantry hero. She has the Frost Bear. Frost Bear is not good. Don't build a Frost Bear. Okay, G2, that's Garwood and Skogul. They wanted the Bruin Bear. There was a moment when the Bruin Bear actually was very good. That moment has long since passed. I don't think the Bruin Bear is any good anymore. Gorse and Skogul, first of all, they're not nearly as strong as they used to be. But even if you use them, you want a Venom Lizard because the Venom Lizard can hit at range. The Bruin Bear back in the day was better for the Rally Garrison meta, which Gorse was a huge part of. He's not that anymore. The Bruin Bear is a don't build, okay? G3 infantry heroes, they want the Moon Bear. Moon Bear still is decent. It's more skill focused. It's more damage focused instead of the counterattack focused of your other pets. So this is pretty good. The other thing about the Moon Bear is it can sort of, you know, slot into some cab marches as a decent march there. So I think it's a bit late in the day to be building the Moon Bear, but it's still doing okay. So the G4 infantry heroes, they want the Moss Rock Auric. There it is. Still super strong, right? The Moss Rock is still one of the better pets in the game. Depending on what you're looking for, this is one of the answers still for the Rally Garrison meta, really the Garrison, based on the infantry heroes you have there. And then your G5 infantry heroes obviously want the Brimstone. Like I said, the Brimstone I think it's good if you're planning on, rallying in particular with Joran. But if you're not doing that, I think a Venom Lizard is still just fine. Okay, so the fourth question is about whether or not you want to put advanced fierce attack on this pet. I think it is pretty tempting for a lot of free-to-play or low-spend players to try and put all the amber skills they can on a pet they're really working on. Because quite frankly, a lot of these skills are pretty expensive, and it is just frankly easier for a free-to-play or a low-spend player to put an amber skill, which is always going to be 3 stars, instead of trying to level up something like Fatal Bite or Intense Blow Off, which are going to be very expensive to get to 2 stars, let alone 3 stars. But having said that, I don't think you want advanced fierce attack on this pet. Frankly, I don't think you want fierce attack at all. Now, what advanced fierce attack does is it makes your fierce attack damage higher. I mean, okay, but even on a pet with fierce attack is usually one of the lowest damage sources on the pet. And do you want to spend a full skill slot plus, 3 amber to increase your lowest skill damage on the pet? I don't think it's good. Something just like Tooth and Claws can be generically better because it's going to benefit everything. On top of that, I don't think Fierce Attack is great for this pet. I do really like the Counter-Strike package. It's got some good synergies with the heroes, with, Joran and Elna. Those heroes are fairly vulnerable to being swarmed at range, and the Counter-Strike package is really good to help fight that off. Now, you can see on this pet here, he's got both, Counter-Strike and Fierce Attack, so theoretically you could have them both. I just don't think that's a good build. I think with the last, couple slots here, you want to increase the damage of Counter-Strike, of Advanced Counter-Strike, of Blow-Off, of Intense Blow-Off. You got Fatal Bite on here. Fatal Bite is never going to do anything because you don't have either Angry Roar or Blood Roar. So my advice for this pet, take off Fierce Attack, put Angry Roar on, put Blood Roar on, even if just at a 1-star level. Okay, so the last question has to do with another Brimstone, this guy here. And basically the user writes that they're going to put an Intense Blow-Off on the last skill slot, 2 stars. And they run the pet through the calculator, and that seems to be the best build. And they're kind of curious why Advanced Blow-Off isn't doing well here. You can see this pet has amazing strength, also near max agility, not so great luck. And so why is Intense Blow-Off so much better than Advanced Blow-Off? Really, it comes down to 2 things here. The first thing is like the pet calculators. They're a really valuable tool, but they're not like the gospel truth, 100% accurate all the time. So use them to get a good idea, but they're not always going to tell you the full story. Sometimes there's some nuances they don't catch. But the second reason really is that your pet's attributes, the variance of your pet attributes are gonna vary the best build sometimes. So what does Advanced Blow-Off do? It makes the blow-off damage, do more damage. Blow-Off has both a primary and a secondary damage source. That's pretty good. But you look at something like Intense Blow-Off, that's a independent damage source. Advanced Blow-Off does not help Intense Blow-Off. So basically anytime you do Blow-Off, you're going to get another damage source that Advanced Blow-Off is not going to help. So 3/4 of the time there. The other thing is you have Counter-Strike and Advanced Counter-Strike here. Counter-Strike is Legion damage, but Advanced Counter-Strike is another pet damage source, and Advanced Blow-Off doesn't help that. But you know what does help that? The basic crit package and Tooth and Claw helps all the damage on this pet. And the strength on this pet is so good that you want to get all the strength sources you can, helping all the damage sources you can, right? So that means you want Fatal Bite and you want Tooth and Claw 100% of the time. Okay, but the thing is with Fatal Bite, Fatal Bite only triggers out when you crit. So to get that Fatal Bite strength boost, you need Angry Roar and Blood Roar. Okay, so that means you only have a couple slots left. Now, if you run this guy through the calculators, you'll actually find that taking off the Counter-Strike package will increase the damage the most. So, okay, you might consider that. I don't think it's a good idea, though, because the Counter-Strike package really helps against swarm protection, and it also really gives you some good synergies with your heroes that just aren't going to be captured in the pet calculator, but are being extremely valuable on the field there. So that's the reason why in this scenario, I think it is worth considering not putting the Amber skill on there, just going with Intense Blow-Off, and then all the damage enablers across the board. Okay, congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Time for a little behind the scenes action here. So that was the first war pet questions video. I expect to roll this out, basically every other week at this point. When I first started my channel, my idea was I was going to do like, a fix your pet series where I do a new pet every week and explain how to maximize someone's war pet build. And then I do like the Doom pet scenario where you see some of the strongest pets in the game. Obviously, those things didn't really take off. And part of the reason is I get a lot of questions about war pets, but they're not really like video length questions. They're just kind of like, hey, should I go with A or B here? What do you think the best pet is in this scenario? Kind of questions. So what I'm going to do really is, I get a lot of those questions all the time, and every couple of weeks I'm going to take them out. I'm going to read them, sort of one by one, and answer what my advice is in that scenario. So if you have a question, send it my way. I'm happy to answer that. I'll try and get back to you as quickly as I can, but I also might put in the video. Now, don't worry, I'm going to keep you anonymous. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. And until next time, you stay classy, Belleron.